Hey you guys, what's up and welcome back to Toe Tags Metal Reviews, and today you're getting our final review of Cycle of Suffering from Sylosis. We've spent the entire week listening to this album as much as we possibly can. TV Fish, go for it.
Alright, so I'm gonna comment on something we said last week, which was the big thing for us in this album. Is that last week we said this album was extremely repetitive with its composition. And after listening to it for a week, I have to say that I still kind of felt that, but it didn't really bug me as much as it did last week. Last week, it was really starting to annoy me the longer the album went on. I'm just like, it's just the same D beat every single song. Lots of similar compositions every single song. But I noticed from listening to this album over and over in a bunch of different scenarios, it's fantastic background music. You can put this on and enjoy it. Maybe a few things will jump out at you, which is one thing I like about this album, which I'm about to get into, but it's also good for just kind of having something there.
Yeah.
Now, some of the small things. One of my favorite moments in the entire album is the guitar solo in I Sever.
Yeah.
I think the second half of that song is amazing, and the first half of the song builds up to it really well. You have, your composition that is similar to everything else with all the D beats and all that kind of stuff, but the way that it goes into that second half, which is a lot more powerful and a lot more melodic, makes the song super strong, and that solo is just fucking wild. I love it. I love the few twists and turns it makes. It's just an insane solo. Every time it came on, I just turned my head and just marveled at how sick it was.
Yeah.
So there is that. Another thing I really enjoyed were Idle Hands, Disintegrate, and Abandon, because they felt really different. They had a lot of the harsh elements, yes, they had a lot of the hard and heavy elements, but they had a lot of emotional and melodic charge to them. If you look at the three tracks, Apex of Disdain, Arms Like a Noose, and Devils in Their Eyes, I liked the songs overall, they were enjoyable. When I think of those three songs, they feel like they're the same song to me. I'd be listening to this album, oh, this song's kind of cool, oh, it's Arms Like a Noose, nice. Oh, this song's kind of cool, oh, it's Devils in Their Eyes, nice. Or same for Apex of Disdain. But if I think about this album off the top of my head and I look at those three songs, I kind of enjoyed them all for the same reason. Oh, it's heavy, it's kind of fast, it's aggressive. It didn't really feel like much stood out from those songs to me. So I feel like the issue of last week was still a relevant issue. It just didn't really bug me as much, but it's still kind of a problem for me.
I'm gonna say that it did bug me. I feel like it's a major issue with this band. For me, tracks 1 through 11 felt like it was the same song. Obviously they're different in their own ways, but sometimes you have songs from bands that do these long tracks and it almost feels like 6 or 7 songs in one. That's kind of what this felt like. The patterns are all very similar, the tuning's all very similar, the structures, the composition, like you mentioned, all very similar across the board. Then you take songs like I Sever, which is my favorite song on the album. That song is badass from front to end. It has the best guitar solo on the album. There's a few here and there, but that's the best one. But you take a song like I Sever, and you take a song like Arms Like a Noose, and you listen to them, and you almost can't tell which one's which when you play them. And what I did is I took the beginning, the intros to those songs, and actually layered them together to see how similar they were. And you know what? I'm gonna do this in post, but I'm gonna play the clip for the viewers, and you guys can hear it, so I'm gonna stop right now. Okay, they just heard it. Okay, we didn't hear it because we're live, but as you guys can see, they sound almost the same, and even when the beat kicks in, it's like the same song. I've mentioned this on the channel before. Out From Below is one of my favorite songs, just awesome song. That also reminds me a lot, like I Sever and Out From Below are also very similar. I feel like this is one of those bands where one guy does all the writing. All the instruments, all the lyrics, everything. Because there seems to be a cap on the creativity. And it's like he's not taking input from anybody else to try to expand what they're capable of. They're in a box. But the thing is, they do that box very well. Some of the grooves these guys have are just sick.
Yeah.
They make you want to turn up, they make you want to bang your head, and they just thrash out and they just go hard, and it's awesome. But it's just the same over and over again. Like, you can listen to one song and that's it. You've heard the album.
Pretty much.
Pretty much, right? With a few odds and ends here and there that are different here and there.
Like the breakdowns. The breakdowns have some differences to them, and it's honestly enjoyable when the breakdowns come on. Like, I was enjoying the breakdowns of this.
The whole thing's enjoyable. That's the thing. It's not bad, but it's just repetitive. It's the same thing. But there are a few things here and there that did stand out that I like. Like in Arms Like a Noose, there's one part where he plays this riff, and he plays it a few times, and then all of a sudden it goes to the same riff but lower on the scale. So I like stuff like that. Little things that pop out at me like that are kind of cool. There's some arpeggio guitar work in there, which is pretty cool. One thing that I actually didn't like was the last song. I skipped it more than I listened to it. Abandon, the longest song in the album, 6-something minutes. I think this song just sucked. Okay? When we first listened to it, our first impression, I thought this is gonna be one of those songs where, like, if you're listening to the album, it's kind of on in the background, and then all of a sudden that song comes on, you're gonna get kind of lost and get taken away, and it's gonna kind of send you on this journey. No, doesn't do that, at least not for me. I found it boring, I found it uneventful. I mean, I skipped it, like I said, more than I listened to it. It was just sour to me.
It's interesting you say that because I was the complete opposite. I loved it, and it took me away every time. I was really enjoying the song. I enjoyed how different it was from everything else, which sounded the same.
That's actually a good point.
Think about that, though.
That's a good point.
It's a completely different song
It
from everything
sounds
else.
different from everything else. That is a good point.
It makes it stand out in that sense. But I don't know. I love how grand the song sounds. Every time it came
Grand?
on.
Wow,
It's
I
just
felt it was the
feels
opposite
so
of grand.
big.
It feels, to me, it felt like it was like somber, but like,
But there's a lot of environment to it. Maybe that's a better word for it.
I didn't see what you were hearing, but
And I really like, one small thing about that song that I loved is how you have clean vocals that like morph into the harsh vocals. The way it fades into the harsh sounds so cool. Like, I really love that. Like, that song is super cool. Don't listen to him, listen to me, it's super cool.
A couple more notable tracks. Empty Profits, track number 1, pretty cool. I made a comment last week about that song having no high tones. Not no high tones, but a little bit of a lack of treble.
Yeah,
I still kind of hear it. It's not as prevalent as I thought it was to begin with, but again, I'm listening to it on different speakers every time, so
I didn't really notice that
I feel
myself.
like there's some sort of, it's like tuned lower maybe. Not sure. Maybe it is just me. I don't know. But there's something sounding a little different about that song as far as the overall sound of that song. But I still like the song. Pretty cool song. Cycle of Suffering is pretty good. And Calcified is also a pretty cool song. All have pretty cool riffs and things like that. The rest of the album, blah. Arms Like a Noose is pretty good too. But only because it sounds exactly like I Sever. And I really like I Sever. So it kind of like, it gets a freebie.
Yeah.
They're similar.
That being said, let's rate this album. So, Vile, what do you rate Cycle of Suffering?
Pretty good album. Obviously, it has some issues. I'm gonna give it a 6.
All right. I feel similar. I think this is a really good definition of a good but not great album. I think fans of the band will still enjoy this album because it plays to what they want to hear, and it's a pretty consistent band overall.
Yeah.
It also gets a 6. 6, good, but not great.
Not bad. Double 6s. And yeah, let us know in the comments below what you guys think of this album after listening to it for a week. Like the video if you liked it. Subscribe if you guys are new to the channel. Check out our Spotify playlist below. But that's it from us for now. I'm Vile Self.
I'm TV Fish.
We'll see you guys on the next video. Keep those heads banging.